Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. Listen, I want you to hear me right now, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because what I'm about to say isn't theory, it's not fluff, it's not some fairy tale. It's real, it's raw, and it's true for every single one of you sitting here right now. You're not lost, you're not stuck, you're just in the middle of the process. God will make a way, one day, inshallah. I know some of you are in pain, real pain, like you're waking up every morning and wondering how the hell you're supposed to keep going. I know some of you are carrying weight no one sees, family pressure, financial chaos, depression that suffocates you. You're smiling outside, but you're breaking inside. You're doing your best, but it never feels like enough. You're praying, you're working, you're trying, and still, the breakthrough hasn't come. But I want you to understand something deeply right now. Your timing is not God's timing. You don't get to control the exact moment the door opens. But if you're faithful, if you keep moving, inshallah, that door will open. See, here's the problem. Most people quit too early. Most people expect results too fast. And when it doesn't come on their schedule, they panic. They doubt. They start saying, maybe this isn't for me. Or maybe I'm cursed. Or maybe I wasn't meant to win. That's garbage. That's your fear talking. That's your insecurity trying to write the script. But you don't let that voice win. You shut it down. You say, inshallah, my time is coming. Because it is, if you stay in the game. If you keep your heart clean, your grind strong, and your prayers steady. Let me tell you something. I've watched people get laughed at for years. Then one day, boom, they're the ones winning. I've seen single mothers work 2 jobs for a decade, crying themselves to sleep. Then suddenly, their child graduates, becomes a doctor, and says, Mom, you saved my life. I've seen guys who were broke, slept in their cars, rejected by everyone, become millionaires through patience, faith, and relentless effort. You know what they all had in common. They believed, not just in themselves, but that the hardship meant something. That it had a purpose, that God had a plan, even when it was silent, even when it felt like nothing was working. Don't confuse silence with absence. When nothing's happening, it's easy to assume you've been forgotten. But sometimes the quiet is where the foundation gets built. Sometimes the struggle is the gym where your character gets jacked. The truth is, there is no greatness without grind. There is no shortcut to anything worth having. There is no straight path. And yet, that's what makes the story powerful. Everyone wants ease, but ease doesn't raise warriors. Ease doesn't build resilience. Ease doesn't teach you to fall on your knees and say, Ya Allah, I don't know how, but I trust you will make a way. And that trust, that's where the magic is. That's where the fear turns into fire. That's where the pain turns into purpose. That's where the uncertainty becomes strength. You gotta be willing to walk through the valley before you ever see the view from the mountain. And even on the way up, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna cry. You're gonna doubt. And that's okay, because that's where faith kicks in. That's where inshallah isn't just a phrase, it's a lifeline. Every single setback, every no, every failure, every time you were misunderstood, ghosted, overlooked, betrayed, it all adds up. It's part of your training. And the more unfair it feels, the more powerful your rise will be. But you have to stop comparing. Stop looking at other people's blessings and wondering why they got theirs first. You're not late, you're on time, your time, and when that moment comes, when that door finally swings open, you'll realize something beautiful. It was worth the wait. The pain wasn't punishment, it was preparation. So yeah, maybe right now things are tough. Maybe you're grinding, praying, believing, and it still feels like you're going nowhere. But I promise you this, God hears every whisper. God sees every effort. God feels every tear. And inshallah, one day it will all make sense. You'll look back and realize the nights you cried yourself to sleep were the nights he was closest to you. You'll realize the times you were rejected were actually divine redirections. You'll see that the delays weren't denials. They were just making space for something greater than what you were asking for. But you can't stop. You can't give up. You've got too much soul, too much fire, too much destiny. So I want you to keep walking, keep building, keep fighting, but do it with love. Do it with integrity. Do it with your eyes on your purpose and your heart in the right place. Because in this life you'll see talent is great, hustle is powerful, but faith is unstoppable, and when you mix faith with action, that's when miracles happen. So let them laugh now, let them doubt now, let them say he's crazy or she's dreaming too big. Let them, because when it happens, and it will happen inshallah, they'll be the ones saying, I always knew you had it in you. You'll smile, and you'll say, God made a way, one day, inshallah. So when you wake up tomorrow and it feels the same, don't let that trick you. Don't let the sameness kill the vision. That's where most people fall. They want lightning bolts, they want applause, they want instant results, but the real ones, the ones who make it, they get addicted to the quiet work, to the days no one claps, to the moments where it's just them, the grind and God. You've got to stop looking at your current situation as your final chapter. This isn't the end, this is a scene, and it might be a tough one. It might be the scene where you get beat down, but what comes after this? That's what you're fighting for, and that future version of you, the one that made it, the one who saw the breakthrough, the one living the life you're praying for. They're counting on you not to quit today. Think about that for a second. The person you want to be is watching everything you're doing right now, watching how you handle the struggle, watching if you keep your heart clean when people mess you around. Watching if you choose bitterness or if you choose discipline, because let's be real, anyone can be positive when things are going great. Anyone can believe when the bank account looks good and everybody's clapping for you. That's not faith, that's comfort. Real belief, real strength is when nothing's working and you still show up. It's when you're tired but still choose to speak gratitude. It's when you're doubting everything but still whisper, Ya Allah, I trust you. That's the stuff that builds empires. That's the mindset that flips everything, and you don't need 1,000,000 followers or a fancy degree to have it. You just need to decide right now that no matter what happens, you're not breaking. You might bend. You might fall, you might cry, but you're not breaking, because there's something in you that's built different, and you know it. That's why this message is hitting you the way it is right now, because deep down, something in you knows you're meant for more. You know this isn't your destination, it's just your training ground, and let me tell you something else. People won't always get it. They won't understand your silence. They won't understand your vision. They won't understand your peace when everything's chaotic, because they don't know what you know. They don't know the nights you've prayed. They don't know the promises you've clung to. They don't know the way your soul has been shaped by storms. Let them be confused, let them talk. While they gossip, you grow. While they doubt, you build. While they chill, you hustle in silence, because you're not doing this for clout. You're doing this for purpose. You're doing this because you know there's something sacred about staying the course even when it's hard. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to keep loving when your heart's been broken. It's hard to keep giving when you're drained. It's hard to keep going when the road feels endless, but you do it anyway because you've tasted what quitting feels like and you're not going back there, because you've seen what happens when you settle and you promised yourself never again. Because deep inside, there's a fire that says, keep walking, one more day, just one more, God's got you. And he does, so now every setback, you treat it like a test, every delay like a divine edit, every no like a setup for a better yes. You start talking to yourself differently. You stop saying, why me? And start saying, try me. You stop asking for it to be easier and start asking to be stronger. Because the person you're becoming can't be built on shortcuts. They've got to be forged through process. And while the world is busy chasing shiny things and quick wins, you're building legacy. You're planting roots so deep that when your season comes, your fruit is undeniable. But you gotta hold the vision when no one else can see it. You gotta keep the energy when no one's clapping. You gotta stay grounded when everything's shaking. You gotta stay humble when the blessings start rolling in. And through all of it, through every phase, the highs, the lows, the waiting, the break, through, you keep whispering it to yourself like armor. God will make a way one day, inshallah. Would you like me to continue this even further? So when the world gets loud and your doubts start screaming and the pressure hits like a punch to the chest, I want you to take a breath and remember why you started, not the cute reason, not the Instagram caption. The real reason, the reason that makes your chest tighten when you think about it. The one that made you cry the first time you dared to believe it could happen. That reason, that truth is your anchor. And when the wind picks up and everything feels like it's falling apart, that anchor will hold if you don't let go of it. Too many people are looking for hacks, looking for some perfect routine, some secret code. But the truth is, the power is already in you. You don't need a perfect plan. You need relentless heart. You need to look in the mirror and say, no matter what happens today, I don't fold, I don't sell out, I don't break, I show up. I do my part, and I leave the outcome to God. That's the rhythm, that's the formula. Show up, stay clean, work hard. Let God handle the rest, and don't confuse movement with progress. You can be busy and still be lost. You can do everything and still miss your mark if you're not aligned. So stop chasing trends, stop bouncing from one plan to the next, thinking the answer's out there. It's not out there, it's inside your consistency, inside your discipline, inside your trust. And you're gonna have days where it feels like nothing is happening. Like you're putting in all this energy and getting zero in return. That's where 90% of people give up, but not you. Because you understand that seeds grow in silence, that it takes time before the soil shows signs of life. That faith is acting like it's already yours even when there's no proof yet. You understand that the slow seasons are sacred. You understand that the valley is not the enemy, it's the classroom. That the closed doors aren't rejection, they're redirection. And when your friends start succeeding faster, when your peers seem to be leveling up without breaking a sweat, you don't get bitter, you don't get jealous, you clap, you cheer, you bless what's not even yours yet. Because you know the table is being set for you too. But only if you stay patient, only if you stay real, only if you keep your heart open when it'd be easier to shut it down. And yeah, you're gonna have moments where your energy is low, where the fire feels like it's dying out. That's when you rest, not quit. That's when you unplug, recalibrate, breathe, and then come back 10 times hungrier. You don't need to fake strength. You just need to be honest. That's what people forget. They think success is about pretending to have it all together, but it's not. It's about having the humility to admit, I'm struggling right now, and still not breaking, still not giving up on what matters. Because you know the tide can change in a day. You know one conversation can flip your whole world, one email, one opportunity, one answered prayer, and the only way to be ready for that moment is to be consistent when no one's watching. So build yourself in the dark, learn the skills when no one's clapping, work on your character when no one's validating you, become the kind of person who deserves the blessing, not just the kind who wants it. Because when God makes that way, and He will, inshallah, it's not just going to be a moment, it's going to be a movement, it's going to be something that no one can deny, because they'll know you didn't get lucky. You got ready, you stayed faithful, you endured, and that's when it all clicks. That's when the tears start making sense. That's when the people who doubted you start falling silent. That's when you stop explaining yourself because your fruit speaks louder than your words ever could. But you can't get there by accident. You can't stumble your way into greatness. You've got to walk through the fire. You've got to stare down the voice in your head that tells you to settle. You've got to let go of the versions of you that were built from fear. Because there's a higher version of you waiting, one that doesn't flinch when storms hit, one that smiles in uncertainty and says, whatever's meant for me won't miss me, one that looks back at the hardest year of your life and says, that year made me. And that version doesn't show up if you keep running. That version only comes to life when you stay the course, when you pray with no proof, when you grind with no guarantee, when you speak like it's done even when it looks like it's falling apart. When you say, this is tough, but I'm tougher, this is slow, but I'm still moving, this is heavy, but I'm still holding the vision. Do you want me to keep going with more in this tone? Because when you keep holding the vision, even when it's heavy, even when it's blurry, even when your hands are shaking, that's when it becomes real. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. Because you stopped being a slave to circumstance and became a student of resilience. You stopped asking for ease and started asking for endurance, and that shift, that internal flip, is what separates the ones who wish from the ones who win. And maybe your surroundings don't reflect your dreams yet. Maybe the people around you don't speak your language. Maybe you're building in silence while others are loud with mediocrity. That's okay. Let them talk. Let them doubt. You weren't built for their applause. You were built for your calling. Some of you are so close to your moment and you don't even know it. You're one painful choice away from peace. One disciplined day away from momentum. One bold conversation away from a breakthrough, but you keep hesitating because you're afraid of what might go wrong. Stop that. Stop scripting tragedies in your head and start rehearsing miracles. Start picturing what could go right for once. Faith isn't just some cute word. Faith is war. It's waking up with no evidence and still showing up like the victory's already been written. It's looking at the numbers, looking at the results, looking at the silence, and still saying, He's making a way. Inshallah, I don't see it, but I feel it. I don't have it yet, but I know it's coming. And yeah, people will say you're crazy, that you're too intense, too idealistic, too focused. Let them say it. While they sleep on their potential, you wake up to yours. While they scroll, you study. While they coast, you climb. Because when the time comes, when the curtain finally lifts, they'll have no choice but to respect what you built. And here's the wild part. All this waiting, all this silence, it's not punishment. It's preparation. It's God saying, if you knew what I was setting up, you wouldn't be complaining. You'd be training. Because what's coming isn't just big, it's bigger than you imagined. But you've got to be the kind of person who can carry it. That means no shortcuts, no skipping steps, no borrowing someone else's path. You walk yours, you own your pace, you get comfortable being misunderstood because what you're doing, where you're going, they weren't supposed to get it. It wasn't their vision, it was yours, and maybe right now you feel stuck. You feel like you've been working for so long and the needle hasn't moved. You've been kind, you've been consistent, you've stayed true. And still, nothing, but that's exactly when it starts to shift. When you reach that edge, that moment where you're tempted to stop, that's the final test. That's the line between almost and arrival. Don't stop at almost. Push through the fatigue, push through the noise, push through the fear, because you were born to cross that line, and no, you won't always feel ready, you won't always feel strong. But it's not about feelings, it's about decisions. You decide to show up, you decide to believe, you decide to keep moving even if you're crawling, and those decisions, compounded daily, turn into destiny. So get up again, breathe again, try again, give again, pray again, because the promise hasn't changed, and neither has the one who gave it to you. You don't need to understand the timing, you just need to trust the process. You don't need to have every step mapped out. You just need to keep taking the next right step. Because when God moves, He moves fast, and when your moment comes, and it will come, it's going to feel like everything happened all at once. But you'll know better. You'll know it was the years of faith, the nights of sacrifice, the mornings of grit that made the miracle. So here's where it lands. After all the noise, the work, the waiting, the doubts, the fire, and the faith, this is what stays true. God will make a way. Not because everything feels perfect right now, but because deep in your soul you know He didn't bring you this far to leave you. You didn't survive what you've survived to stay stuck in the same place. You've been pulled, tested, stretched for a reason. You've been refined, not rejected, prepared, not punished. And when that door opens, when that moment hits, when it finally all aligns, it won't be luck. It won't be random. It'll be legacy. It'll be answered prayer. It'll be divine timing. So don't lose heart. Don't drop the vision. Keep showing up. Keep speaking it. Keep walking like the ground will rise to meet you. Because it will, in your moment, on your path, in His time, inshallah.